Welcome to Coffee Conversation. My name is Miquelle, and I'm Dr. Stevenson. And we're basically interviewing graduate students, trying to see what they've been up to during this time, how their daily life has kind of changed, and how I guess you've been handling everything. So, how are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to during this time.
I've been good. So my program is anthropology,
Okay,
um, and I'm focusing in underwater archaeology.
nice.
So I've been good. It's just been a little hard because part of our program is like me being able to go out and dive.
Right.
And so I haven't been able to dive since the quarantine has started. So that's been kind of hard.
How many times have you been diving?
Um, I think since I started the program, we've been out like 20 or 30 times.
Wow. And how
Yeah.
did you go?
My certification right now goes to like 90 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And how did you discover like that you wanted to study underwater archaeology? Like is that like a
Well,
passion of yours?
no, so I got really lucky. I used to be an education major. I wanted to do like grade school teaching, but I decided that wasn't really for me. So I was trying out a bunch of different major type things, like random classes in my undergrad, and I found anthropology. And then once I was kind of halfway through my undergrad degree, I found out that there was a bunch of stuff underwater that we could be finding, and there's like a whole genre of people who do that, and I went like all in.
Wow, that's amazing. So how has that transition been for you since you can't, obviously you can't be diving? Like what assignments are they giving you? Like what tasks do you have to do? Is it papers? Is it research?
Mostly it's just been papers. We've had since we stopped diving, the class that I'm in right now is the ultimate goal is to finish everyone with a scientific diving certification so you can work on like scientific sites and do research underwater. But we were just like a couple of dives short of that when quarantine happened. So we didn't get our certifications, but the only thing left that we had in class was like a few more dives and one paper. So all we've done is like our final paper.
Right. And what is it in specific that you're focusing on in like the underwater archaeology? Is there anything specific in research or
Yeah, so my thing that I'm really, really interested in is I work under our professor, Dr. Halligan here, and she found a site in Florida that's one of the oldest sites in North America. Um,
wow.
it's at, I think, 14,450 or 550 years old, and it's in the Osceola River. And so she's been diving there for a few years now, and she's been pulling stuff up. And when I heard about the work that she was doing, I was super excited because most of the underwater archaeology is on shipwrecks. And she's like one of the only people that does like Paleo Indian evidence of people that were here like 15,000 years ago kind of thing. And that's what I love.
Wow. And how were you able to get that experience, like start working with her?
How was I?
Yes.
So I haven't been able to start working with her yet.
Oh,
Um, Before I can go on her site, I have to get my scientific diver.
oh, okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So let's say everything, all the bans get lifted, everything's back to normal. Like, would that be something you would continue over the summer or to try and get at that?
Yeah, definitely. Like as soon as this is lifted, I'm gonna be looking for places to go dive for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And what's like some of the coolest things that you've seen, like when you've been diving?
Um, Probably. I think one of the last dives we went on right before quarantine, we went on this shipwreck in Panama City.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's called Black Bart. And while we were on the shipwreck, which the shipwreck was amazing, like it was totally rad. But when we were coming up, I came up from the water and our dive instructor was like, "Oh, there's something on you. Hold still for a second." And on my arm, he pulled off like this baby octopus.
No,
So I had like all these pictures of me holding this baby octopus, and I was like,
that's awesome.
yeah, it was so cool.
My goodness. So I've been diving one time and I went like
Really?
30 feet. Yeah, I went in Costa Rica when I was there, and one of the main, I think, not a problem, but a lot of problems, like a problem for like most people that do it, or like some people that do it, is that like anxiety that comes. It's kind of like innate. Sometimes you think you're all good, you're ready to go, and then you go down there and you get like an overwhelming feeling. Has that like happened to you before, or have you seen other people like get anxious like that?
I mean, it definitely has happened to me. Sometimes, most of the time I feel okay, but sometimes I think everybody has like bad days, and sometimes I'll have days where I just am not like in a headspace for it. And we've done like cavern diving where we've gone inside caverns, and I've had days where we've gone in the cavern and like I was freaking out the whole time because I just wasn't in the headspace for it, and like it's scary in there.
Yeah, because you kind of feel like you're like trapped and enclosed in the cavern. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And they have us doing like these drills where you go in the cavern and you have to take your mask off, and then you have to put your mask back on, so you're like blind for a couple minutes, and then they'll make you like turn your tank off so you run out of air in the cavern.
Mhm.
Once you run out of air, you have to switch to like this secondary tank you have around your chest, or you'll have to like take your buddy's air and have them give it to you, like tell them that you're out. And so it's kind of scary. Like,
Yeah, when I did it, I was absolutely terrified because my younger sister went with me, and I was so worried about her because she was like
oh,
14. Yeah, so I was like terrified. Yeah,
where did you guys go?
we went. I'm not sure where in Costa Rica, but we just went with a bunch of diving instructors, and we were not supposed to do this. Like, I've never had a diving course, never instruction. In Costa Rica, they do things different. They're like, all right, here's a quick training, and you're going 40 feet under. That's why I was freaking out, but I was like, I have to do it. Like, I can't pass up on
Oh
that.
my God.
Yeah, it
Was it
was
at least cool?
scary.
You saw cool stuff?
Oh my, it's schools of fish and super cool, like just, I mean, it wasn't like I didn't see anything amazing, but it was just, I guess, the experience of it that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so you mentioned that everything has been put on hold, but how was your life, like a day in the life of the graduate student experience before all of this? Like, what was it looking like for you, like every day?
I had class before quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had class most days, all day long, and our department is off campus. Um, we're in Innovation Park, so it would be kind of, I'd spend a lot of time like commuting between campuses and in my office over there working. And Fridays we'd spend all day diving, and since that's out in Panama City, it would be like a 2-hour ride over there. We'd dive all day and then a 2-hour ride back, so it would be like a 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. day before I got back to my room. And yeah, pretty much just like eat, breathing, sleeping anthropology.
That is that is the coolest day in the life I've heard yet. So that's so awesome. And you mentioned that you went from education to like anthropology. So how is that transition for you? Was it easy at first? Was it hard? Was it something that you like? How far in did you make that switch?
I think it was immediate. Like my first anthropology class, I think it was intro to archaeology was my first class. And I was like, I love this. And I felt so much more secure in it because when I was in the education courses, I felt like everyone had this passion and they were so excited and they had like this light about them for this major. And I just did not have it.
That you didn't have it at first?
In education, I just never had it. But
Oh,
archaeology, I
okay.
just, like right away.
Yeah. So how long were you focusing in education?
Um, I think that it was honestly like my whole life. I wanted to be a teacher my whole life. And then I took these advanced classes in high school where we went and helped out at high schools and did these teaching courses in high schools. And then I did it in my undergrad for 2 years of my undergrad. And yeah,
Yeah. Have you always been at FSU?
I'm doing FSU now, but my undergrad was at Florida Gulf Coast University in Fort Myers.
Oh wow. Um, And what has been like the biggest obstacle for you during your time in graduate? I mean, you mentioned over email that you were like swamped with finals. Is that something that's been challenging or something completely separate, like kind of like a roadblock?
I think the hardest part, at least before quarantine, was being up in Tallahassee. I've never been so far from my family in my entire life. So all of my family is in Miami, where I am now.
So am I.
Oh, awesome. Yes. So Tallahassee is like a culture shock.
Oh,
And then
sure,
no family.
definitely.
And then I had initially brought up my car to Tallahassee, but because I was living on campus, it was really like complicated. So I gave my car to my little sister because she needed one. And so I had no car and no family, and I felt very like, so that
Yeah.
was tough.
Yeah, it sucks because I have to go pick up all my stuff now over the summer because I was in a dorm this past year and they just kicked us all out. So I
Yeah.
have to make that 8-hour trip sometime during the summer, which
Oh
sucks.
my
But
gosh.
yeah.
I was super annoyed because I had a bunch of field schools that were going to be over the summer, an underwater field school and a land one. And I was going to be doing both of them. So my whole summer I was going to be up in Tallahassee, and I got an apartment there. But the field schools were canceled. So now I'm not going to Tallahassee, and they're like holding me to this apartment. So I have to like
Oh
do,
no. So you got accepted into this field school?
yeah.
So are they doing like any online transitions or how is that supposed to look?
Yeah, they're not, because it's kind of like something that you have to get done if you want to do archaeology, and it's all methodology, like in person, learning how to dig and how to do like the stratigraphy. So they're just gonna like end up moving it to the spring term.
Oh, that's so not even fall?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Um, so have you had any other experiences in archaeology, like in the field or something that's different than underwater?
Yeah, I've gone out to a couple of different sites to help them dig. And so that's been really cool. Like you get to sift, and when they're pulling stuff up out of the ground, it's so neat because one time I was at a site that was I think like 6,000 years old, and
Wow.
these arrowheads that were like yellowish like quartz, and it's insane because you're like nobody's touched this or seen this for 5,000 years, like.
Wow, that's so awesome. Where have you traveled besides that? Like where was that located?
That one was in like Clewiston, in the middle of Florida-ish.
Okay.
It's like the Everglades, middle of nowhere.
I'm sure the Everglades is filled with hidden
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, that's the uncharted swamplands, the Everglades.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is so cool. I mean, I don't think anyone could have that experience if they're not like that is just such like a one of a kind experience.
Mhm.
Um, so so my question to you is, and probably the main purpose of this is just kind of to assess like how this transition has been for you now. So has it been something that you've enjoyed or something that you've absolutely hated? Like how has the online transition been for you?
Um, I thought I would be really happy with it because I was really excited to come home because I miss my family so much. Um, but it's been really hard. I think going from being like really, really busy and having all of your time occupied every day, all day, like, and just knowing exactly what your schedule looks like, and then going to nothing all day, every day, and like your schedule's up in the air, it was really hard to transition. And I feel like me and a lot of my cohorts, we had like for the first couple of weeks, we had a lot of trouble getting any work done at all. So that was kind of rough.
So how have you been staying in contact with them? There's
Our cohorts, we've been doing every like once a week or once every 2 weeks. We'll do like a little catch up where we just kind of all do a Zoom call and talk for a little while and hang out and do like happy hour.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And anything that you have like previously didn't have the time for, and now that your schedule is kind of cleared up, you've been able to do like whether it's been like read or pick up an instrument. I know a lot of graduate students have been like, oh, I'm playing the guitar now.
Yeah, I since I've been home, I was living in the dorm, and I had someone fostering my cat for me.
Oh,
So
wow.
since I've been home, she's actually hanging out with me. I've been able to be with my cat,
Aw, so
so
cute.
that's been good.
Yeah.
I've been able to knit. I started knitting again.
Oh,
So
that's
that's
amazing.
yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I'm really glad I got to talk with you. This has been super cool that I've been able to kind of find out what archaeology student has been up to. So thank you for taking the time with chatting with me. It's been an absolute pleasure. So I hope that you stay safe and, hopefully everything resumes back to normal and we can get back to our lives. And yeah, but
For sure.
I
I
wish
hope
you
you
the
stay
best.
safe too.
Yes. Bye. It was so nice meeting you.